The more I study nature, the more I stand amazed at the work of the Creator. Science brings men nearer to God. Louis Pasteur. This quote is in my classroom. It holds true every day. The more we learn, the more we become amazed by God's creations. Greetings, I'm Tara Lafferty. I teach 4th through 8th grade ELA, math, and science, young 5s through 1st grade science, and 2nd through 3rd grade science. I have 20 plus years of environmental education in accredited zoos, and included working with multiple different school districts in creating curriculum and helping teachers how to teach science. So let's get started. Please go to this Padlet where you will find more information, including the slides, the videos, and resources that you will be able to utilize. Science is curiosity. I wonder. A child will notice an ant carrying pieces of food to their home. A spider waiting ever so patiently for food. Why do they do that? Do the ants have more than one entrance? How do they find food? How do they know where to go? How can I find out? First, we need to know, how do we explore science? Science is information gained through observations and experimentation. By pure definition, we fail students if we only open a textbook, told what to think and what to say on a test. Therefore, individuals will then become adults that can't decipher between true scientific study or an article with manipulated facts. Students need to appreciate the work that goes into research and understand that science is ever evolving and ever changing. And in order to do that, we need to flip Bloom's taxonomy. We are failing science by testing memorization skills first. By approaching with memorization of theories, laws, terminology, skills, it kills the true curiosity and exploration of science. The what if and the so what of science are often ignored. If we memorize first, we are following the I preach, you repeat model of Bloom's taxonomy. By flipping that, we move towards the process of scientific inquiry. Scientists don't sit around all day sharing information they learned in a book. People have the capability to read and comprehend its information. Let me share everything with you that I know about opossums and see if you can memorize what I have memorized. This is failing science education. When we build a society that will listen to what is preached the loudest, instead of habitually starting with what makes sense, what is researched, and what is proven. How do scientists approach problems? Through observation, experimentation, question, wonder, fail, redo, succeed, repeat, and summary. Why then do we expect students to learn what we know and then spill the information on a test? Scientists don't take tests on a regular basis. They can't Google their answers to their questions. Imagine, if you will, a musician. We don't expect them to memorize a song to be played and all the fingerings for the instrument before they even pick it up. They are allowed to explore and grow with their creativity first. They don't receive a written test on how to play the instrument. They simply play it and practice the process repeatedly, fine-tuning their skills. Let's expect students to behave like musicians and scientists. Let's practice the skills of the scientific method. Instead of, here are the different types of rocks, let's memorize the definitions and then take a test. Let's flip that. Here are the rocks. How would you categorize them? What do you think happened? Why? What do you see? How do you think that happened? What more do you need to know about these rocks that will help you? Where can you find that information? How can you find that information? Here you will see a couple examples of students going through their observations, the I wonders, the what ifs, and how can we categorize these rocks. Please keep in mind that there was not a lecture or information on rock identification first. This is their first time seeing these rocks. Please also know that this recording of the students was taken before COVID. It was taken last year.
Groups.
This goes right here.
No, these two,
But they do not look
these,
This is
but
bendy.
both these kind of go together, but
Let's
these-
separate them
these
by
are
color.
good.
These
good.
two, these
I don't know what this could go with.
These two go because they're both like clear.
When I go like kind of face it at the sun, it kind of shine. Like it looks like
I
a
wonder how that like when you move it's kind of
I wonder that
I noticed.
yeah,
watch
this.
I noticed.
I'm gonna move it
This
fast.
is so dark.
These students went through a process that scientists do on their own. Most importantly, the students believe that they did it on their own, and in turn will remember the process and information that they learned. I'm not saying it's easy. It's hard. I'll be honest, there are times it would be so much easier to simply assign a text reading, lecture the terminology, and grade and repeat. However, that is when I become stuck. It's boring, it's mundane, and it's not really science. It can be extremely difficult to see a student ask the wrong questions with inquiry-based thinking. But if you give them time and space, they will get there. They will discover the truths and be amazed by what they can find. So let's go through the process. What do I wonder? What do I know? Let's create an experiment. What are my observations? What information did I collect? What did I learn? And let me share. After the process of what do I wonder and what do I know, students will start to develop their experimentations. They use science journals and encourage them along the process of discovery. They learn it's okay to make a mistake. It's great when we learn that what we thought we knew was different than what we learned, which is our secondary knowledge. The slides that are being shown are a small example of what we do in our class. The entire slide deck is available on the Padlet. Please know I did not design the background. It was pulled from Slidesmania. As we use our inquiry to science-based thinking and learning, we need to keep in mind our habits of learning styles and learning environments. Does your classroom encourage failure? Do students have choice in their learning environment? Can they choose to give their own information? Is their information rich with language? Do they present when they speak and when they present their material? Are students encouraged to ask questions, feel safe and free amongst their peers to make a mistake? And can they self-direct their thinking? At Van Andel is a scientific research facility that questioned its scientists. What do you feel is more important when you hire a new scientist? What did they find? Only 10% knowledge base. The rest of what is important includes these habit of minds and learning working environment. We can't have a scientist not willing to share information or not work with other scientists. They need to think outside of the box and they need to be creative. They need to persevere because there are more failures in an experiment than successes. We have those failures in order to lead to a success. We simply can't give up. So let's use what do I wonder? What do I know? Let's create an experiment. What are my observations? What information did I collect? What did I learn? And let me share. Think of the typical 4-year-old. Why are you doing that? Why is the sky blue? Why are we going to the store? Why is milk white? Why are plants green? I have always strived to encourage students to ask questions, and yes, even with my 3 sons. We all know how exhausting it can be as a parent when our young children go through this question phase. However, the best way to combat that is with another question. When I'm asked to present on how I teach, I always struggle with that. I really don't lecture, thus you'll appreciate with me with this video, because I like to ask questions. So in this next video, you're going to see students presented with, I wonder if matter can be destroyed. They have never approached this topic before. We have learned about the laws of energy and the properties of water. You will notice students using their past experiences with their understanding of what do they wonder and what do they know.
I believe that I'm pretty sure gas can't be destroyed, so I think if we were to try to destroy matter, it would just turn into a gas.
Okay. Clinton.
I don't think it can be destroyed, but it can be split up, but not destroyed and disintegrated, gone.
Okay. Ethan.
Pretty much the same thing as what Quentin said.
Evelyn.
So, with the nuclear bomb, it destroyed everything, but I think it would be just turned into a gas instead. They just be split up and they just turn into a gas instead of being destroyed.
Did you have something? Can matter be destroyed? I wonder. Quentin.
Kind of going off what Evelyn said, I feel like it also could be destroyed because of the atomic bomb. They shot a nucleus or an atom, and so the atom itself split. So I don't know.
Therese.
Kind of sort of like Quentin and Evelyn said.
Okay. So I'm going to toss something else out there. So when we have, when something lives and dies, right? So when we have a plant, is that matter destroyed?
No, over time
What happens over time? What happens to that matter?
it slowly decomposes.
Slowly decomposes. Evelyn.
So when you put your plants in the compost pile, your old fruit and veggies, they just turn into dirt. So maybe that. It doesn't actually get destroyed, it just turns into something else.
Okay. Let's think about things that we know. Do we know any cycles?
Life cycle?
Yeah, we know a life cycle.
Water
other-
cycle?
We know the water cycle. Can we use that in our knowing with the wondering?
Yes.
Okay, how can that be added? Let's think of the easy one. Let's think of the water cycle. Oh, go ahead, Jade. Did you have something?
So never mind.
Evelyn?
So the water cycle, so you have the water, it evaporates, goes into the clouds, and it rains, and then it just goes over and over again. It just turns into a gas, then it reforms into water, then turns into a gas, and it just goes over and over again.
Tree?
So really water just changes into something else and it never stops.
Okay. Jay?
I think that maybe the matter itself could be a cycle, it's broken down and then it builds up again, and then it's a cycle, and it repeats.
Okay. Good. All of you have very good points. So today we are going to be talking about matter and how can we balance those equations. Okay, so we need to, again, let's turn on our thinking brain. Ready? 1, 2, 3, click. And then let's turn on our imagination brains. 1, 2, 3, click. Okay, so for the first time we're talking about this, right? Okay, I wonder, can matter be destroyed? No. Can anyone clarify for me? Why do we think that? Abby.
Most likely because matter is something that I think it floats in the air, so it can't be destroyed.
Okay. Claire?
Matter is something I think that goes in the air, and when stuff is in the air, it really just kind of moves to side, but it really doesn't, it can't really disappear or anything.
Okay.
But we can't see it if it's in the air.
Okay.
It's because, like, matter is energy. Energy cannot be destroyed.
Okay, so before we learned about energy, right? And energy can't be destroyed, but it can do what?
It can
I heard that. Can you say it again? Change. So energy can change. So this is lending me to think, what is matter?
Matter is a gas?
A gas?
It's a
It's what? What are you pointing
element.
to? It's an element. So we have our elements that we've been talking about, right? So matter, so when we talk about matter, it's kind of the things, or if we think about English, the nouns, the things that we can feel and touch. Sometimes we can't feel and touch matter depending what it is, right? So we need to think all of those things are matter. Table, trees,
Tables are matter?
snow,
Huh?
your hair, your tears, all of those things, your teeth, all of those things are matter, okay? So let's rethink this and let's revisit. Can matter be destroyed? No. Awesome. Esme, what do you say yes? It's okay.
I forgot.
Forgot? Okay. Why do we say no? Abby.
Because matter is something that can be real and not real, and you can't really destroy it.
Okay. Yes, Kylie.
If you can't, another reason is like if you can't see it, can't really destroy it. Exactly. And God knew it, so He probably wouldn't want it to be destroyed.
Okay.
Things get destroyed here. Can only destroy things that God did not.
What if I take this computer and I throw it out the window?
It's gonna break because all the snow is getting it wet.
It's-
and
What would our principal say? Would she come running and say, Mrs. Lafferty, what did you do? Did you destroy that computer? And what am I going to say? Nope, matter cannot be destroyed, right? Can we change that matter?
It can't be destroyed, but it can.
Well, we can change it. I could say destroyed probably isn't the right word, but changing it is a good thing, right? Does it mean it works still? No. So I know that. So Dominic, you were going to say something. What were you going to say?
just like water cannot be destroyed, matter cannot be destroyed.
Awesome. You went right where my brain went right now. So he said just like water cannot be destroyed, matter can't be destroyed. So let's think. You guys know the water cycle, right? Yeah. So we have the same amount of water on Earth that we did billions of years ago, right? So it just changes from liquid to gas to solid all the way back around, right?
It's a
nice
circle.
circle. Matter has the same circle. Yes.
You said snow is matter, right?
Mhm.
And if snow snow gets hot, it turns into water. And if water gets cold, it turns into ice.
Mhm.
So that's basically
No, let her finish her thought.
that is matter because it just goes like ice, water, snow, water, ice, snow.
Yeah, perfect. You guys are doing great with us. Okay, now, you know that it's the cycle of life, right? So if I have a plant, the plant can die, it can go under the ground, its nutrients can change, worms can eat it up, oxygen can break it down, and bacteria can break it down, and then those nutrients that was in the plants then go into the other plants as nutrients back up into the new plants. Yes? Okay. So that is just changing the matter. Today, we are going to be learning about how to make that a balance, right? Remember, we've talked a lot how God likes everything to be in balance? Yeah. And on earth, we have that balance, yes? So we're going to be learning about how to do that. Good job, guys. Here we are using our initial assessment. What do students know? They all can't make a mistake here. It then allows me to know how to guide our conversations later on and to reformat the lessons if needed. From this video, we did revisit what is matter. Did you notice the student mention God and the role of science with regards to matter never being destroyed? We also talked about what does destroyed mean. Notice students bouncing off of one another and thoughts and ideas. Students making some mistakes with their thinking. Students pulling God into the equation with faith and knowledge. Students pulling in their understanding of the water cycles and law of energy. We then go to the students creating their own experiment. Now you can guide them and redirect them. Remember, it is the process that matters at this point. What is it that they want to know? How will they discover this? What is their control? What are their variables? How are they going to test this? What different data points are they going to encounter? Ask them first. Design later. By all means, you know that there are different materials that you may need, and there is a plethora of information to be able to do online. But it is how it is presented. Did they learn about the project first and then do the crafty science experiment later? Or did they ask the questions through a series of questions? Did they develop and design the experiment? For example, my students have been learning about the properties of water, and they learned how we use water as a base for measurements like pH scale and freezing and boiling points. They then discovered that lowering the freezing point of water, and then a light bulb went off. Wait, Mrs. Lafferty, what if we make ice cream? Now, I absolutely was planning on this very thing. However, they came to the conclusion as to what to do for their experiment and figured out why it would work. We can't forget about observations in science. All too often, students are not bored. They have videos, social media, constant activities to keep them active. I found that my students, even in a rural area, first needed to learn and observe the world around them. How do we teach students how to observe? And I love doing this activity at the beginning of the year. You build what I see. It's the creation, or I call it the monster. It can either be a drawing or a simple Lego sculpture. Students in one room is an observer, and they tell the runner what to do. The runner then tells the builder how to build or draw the exact replica. This is a fancy, creative way off of the telephone game. And I have rarely had this be successful with participants. Whether they are young or adults, they may not describe fully the shape, size, color that is needed for the monster. When we lift some restrictions, time or the runner themselves seeing the monster and building become better, we learn that we may not fully see what we are observing. Many people will say, I didn't see the pink, or I didn't think that shape mattered. Think about it. Scientists need to be able to see differences of shadows in a scan or specks in a microscope. We also need to be able to develop new level of definitions and understandings. Some scientists need to create a new vocabulary in order to describe what is going on in an experiment. Much like if you use Legos, how do you describe certain pieces that are flatter, that are thicker? 6 by 8. How do you describe those pieces? And that is where the language comes in. So let's play. Go to the Padlet and let's participate under what do you see? How would you describe in writing what you see with the pictures that are given? So let's play. So how do we grade this? Remember, I teach a multi-grade level classroom. I base the rubrics and grading off of students' knowledge and skill sets. Creating a rubric and students understanding different levels, and by using guides and rubrics from the Developing Visible and Capable Learners by Frey, Hattie, and Fisher, students will feel more empowered and thus more motivated to be engaged in the classroom. You will find if you do administer a test, students will score higher. Differentiation happens when I grade and assess students throughout their learning. Formative assessments are essential. I had one student that wasn't able to write, had difficulty drawing, and difficulty talking with me. I noticed that she's a singer, and so I asked her if she could sing me a song about plants and how they grow. She did great. This pulls us back to that student choice portion of the VAEI learning environment. She became comfortable in the classroom and with the topic, and is now one of my top note takers and questioners in the classroom. Scientific journals are essential in the science classroom. All of their notes, drawings, wonderings, and data collections are within these notes. Students collect their data over time and then put their data into a spreadsheet and then analyze that data. Yes, my second graders use Google Sheets. We use scatter plots, mean, median, mode, range, in order to come to a conclusion with our experiment. They understand that while it might not work for them, it might work with another group. They then go to the other group, analyze their data as well. And this is the habit of mind of collaborating together. This is the success of failing science. In our classroom, we failed to succeed. It is our mantra. We know that when we go around the room and students struggling to find the right answers, that's when another student may get a eureka, I've got it. And they realize it's due to several other students failing, thus lifting them up and coming to a conclusion. We thank each other and recognize that it was a group effort, not the intelligence of a singular student, thus reinforcing the learning environment and habits of mind with scientific learning. Does it work? How do we know it works? We are a data-driven school. We use multiple sources to collect information from students, one being the NWEA MAPS testing. By comparing their science scores with the 2020 NWEA science norms charts, knowing that the norm is determined by grade level expectations for 68% of the students nationwide, achieving those norm scores. My students ranging from 2nd through 8th grade, I have one student that is a grade below level of the norm. 64% of my students scored at least 2 grade levels above, with half of those students being well above or off the charts past the 10th grade norm level. This would be 3 to 4 times higher than their grade level. The rest of the students are at grade level or 1 grade level above. I believe it's working. Okay, so let's try a few things. Go to the Padlet, participate in What Do You Know? Think of a science concept that you're used to teaching lecture first. What can you change? How will you change it? How will you flip it? Let's share this information together. Remember, there aren't any right or wrong answers. This is a time for us to work together in a shared open space and explore with our thinking. We can help each other out. You may really be stuck, and that is okay. So what we're going to do, we can offer ideas, offer some tips, some other ways to think outside of the box. So let's go and let's play. I'll see you in the Padlet. What did we learn? We learned how to incorporate the practice of science into our learning of science, to use our inquiry and thinking skills with wondering, understanding what we know, how to create an experiment, and then discover what we learned. We realized that learning environment and process is far more important than memorizing textual information. Students that have hands-on learning and experience will gain far more knowledge and levels of understanding. So I'm going to show you this quote one more time. The more I study nature, the more I am amazed at the work of the Creator. Science brings men nearer to God. Louis Pasteur. Here are the works cited of the research that I used. Thank you. Thank you for your time. I can't wait to meet you on the Padlet. Please insert that information and let's get going. My contact information is also available on the Padlet as well. We'll see you then. Thank you.